All right, let's talk a little Supergirl news. And I wanted to wait until the box office numbers actually really came out. What you hear on Sunday and Monday are usually projections. You usually got to wait till about Tuesday to see what the actual real numbers were. And as far as it goes for Supergirl, those numbers just kept falling and falling and falling. So let's take a look and see what damage has been done to DC. Here we are. Yes. Now, this, of course, is including Monday and Tuesday. And I'll scroll down here. But the international box office, if you remember on Sunday and Monday, they were saying it was going to be $30 million. Well, it ended up being 27.7. And remember, they said that the domestic was going to be 38. Well, let's just go check that out. Nope, that was off too. We have $37,102,018. That was the real number. And if we scroll down here, it's basically added in about a 7.3 million, including Monday and Tuesday. Now you're looking at Tuesday and going, well, why did it jump 52% from Monday? Well, that's very easy. Most theaters do some sort of deal thing on Tuesday. They give you a discount to come see a movie. Since summer's out, I'm sure a lot of people who didn't want to pay full price went and took their kids or whoever on Tuesday, and it racked up almost 4.5 million. But that is only going to get you one time and one time only. I'm actually predicting that this movie is going to completely and utter crash this weekend. I think we're going to see a 70% drop. And if that happens, we're looking at a second weekend of about 13 million. I'm going to say that that's about where it's going to fall. It's going to fall right about 13 million. So, yes, this is a complete utter disaster. It's objectively so. And yet we still have YouTubers, I guess you want to call them influencers. I don't know how much influence they have because a lot of these people like Angry Joe were all but begging their viewers to go see this movie, and yet nobody showed up. And while we're on the subject of nobody showing up, let's just talk a little bit about who this movie was for. Well, it's basically for three quadrants. It's for women and girls. It's for the LBG crowd. And then the last quadrant is the blue-haired mental patients that think they're something that they're not. It wasn't for men and boys. We were told by Millie Alcock that it wasn't for us. Don't go see it. It's not your movie. And yet somehow I still went and fucking saw this shitty ass movie.
Man, you are one pathetic loser.
That criticism may not be completely accurate because I was made to go see this movie by Ian K. You can catch him on Monday Night Meltdown and Thursday Night Throwdown. His channel is linked in my comment section. And basically, we have this thing going where he likes to send me to go watch shitty ass movies, and I like to make him play shitty ass video games. Now, usually Ian gets the short end of the stick, well, because he's short. But this time I feel like I got the short end of the stick, and I feel like the short end of the stick was shoved up a certain orifice, and I don't feel very good about it. You can guess which orifice I'm talking about. But let's get back to the breakdown of who watched this movie. And oddly enough, even though men were told this wasn't for them, they comprised 59% of the audience, which means less than 41% of the audience, considering that some of the audience doesn't identify as anything, was women.
Hey, where are the white women at?
I think that's a pretty fair question. Where were the women at? They show up for Barbie. They show up for Inside Out 2. They're showing up for Toy Story 5. So why didn't they show up for Supergirl? Well, the first thing is DC is a boys brand. Most of the people that read Supergirl until recently were boys. And the small percentage of girls that read comic books in general, and specifically Supergirl, like Supergirl the way the boys like Supergirl. Nice, heroic, attractive, not an uglified 304 sorority girl who drinks way too much. And by the way, Anna Noguera, I have a feeling that this is a self-insert, so that says a lot about you. Because no writer in Hollywood these days knows to write about anything other than themselves. So there you go. So it's basically the same thing Disney's done to Star Wars and to Marvel. They've turned the male brands into the female brands, and now almost nobody is showing up to watch their movies. But I'd like to go back to the numbers for a minute. Okay, so it was actually 64 million for the weekend, and that included the Thursday and the Wednesday IMAX. If it does 50% hold this coming weekend, which I think would be a miracle beyond miracle, that's 32 million total box office for that weekend. So that would get us to 104. I know I'm not counting. We got the Thursday. I know I'm not counting that. But I'm also not counting on it having a 50% hold. I think this thing's going to drop 70. So if we do that, that's about 12, 13 million worldwide. Actually be what, like 16? Yeah, I think it'd be more like 16. If it goes the way I think it is, that's going to be a disaster. It will be difficult for it to leg out a 2X, which would be $124 million. Think about that. A DC movie that ends its run at 124 million global. I mean, I think very, very top, it's probably 150. I think that's where the cap is at these days for this movie. The global run of 150 million, because it's got really headwinds. This weekend's going to be Minions and Monsters. That's going to take away a lot of the family business, what little it was getting anyway. And like I said, I think you're looking at probably the weekend box office globally being around 14 to 16 million dollars. I really think that that's where it's going to hit. And that's just going to be a complete and utter disaster. But the last thing I actually want to talk about is of all the articles I read about this and all the cope, there was one in particular that me and Ian went over on Monday Night Meltdown. And I just kind of want to rehash it because it was so hilarious. This article is written by John Pavlovitz, and it's entitled, Supergirl Didn't Fall, She Burned Up Entering the Manosphere. I'm not going to go through the whole thing. As you can see here, you've got the memes. I'm pretty sure at least one of these belongs to Gary. You got Angry Joe screaming like the blue-haired freak or the green-haired freak when Trump won the first time. So the one thing that caught me about this is this guy actually insinuates that neurotic geeks and gamers, I don't remember if he threw as in there or not from heel versus babyface, but basically anyone, and they left out Drinker again. Why is Drinker getting avoided? What is up with that? Is it just because he's foreign? Is there some sort of racism there that Drinker doesn't get mentioned in these articles, but Neurotic does? Drinker's got a lot more subscribers than Neurotic. Anyways, he says that Neurotic, geeks and gamers, whoever else you want to throw in there, I guess you could even throw myself in, we're all part of the manosphere. I'm not part of the manosphere. Andrew Tate. Let's see. Myron Gaines, Brian Atlas. I'm not even sure if Brian Atlas would be considered part of the manosphere. If he is, he's just kind of marginal. But basically, Myron and Andrew, that's the manosphere. That's the manosphere I'm aware of. And you know what? Myron and Andrew, if you ask them about Supergirl, they wouldn't give a fuck. I guarantee you. They haven't watched this movie. They don't pay attention to this shit. So this was just a horrible misnomer calling Gary and Geeks and Gamers part of the manosphere. Okay, these are just content creators. They study pop culture. That's what they do. That is not the manosphere. I just think it's completely crazy that anyone doesn't understand the difference. So with that, I'm going to end this video. If you haven't subscribed to my channel, I'd appreciate it if you could hit that subscribe button. If you liked the video, please click the like button, share this out through social media, and leave comments in the comment section. And like my father told me when I was 18 years old, the free video's over. Get out.